afternoon. It's 5 p.m. This is the Terrace. Still, the new European Super League dominates the airways, dominates the TV screens. Amidst other news, there is a football game tonight. We will be covering that, of course, here at the Football Terrace, the only and the original and the only top 6 +1 channel. I don't know if we might have to change the name of that soon if all these things keep going forward like they are. So many stories to delve into. There's supposedly been a 10 billion euro solidarity fund set up by the new Super League to pump into smaller clubs, and that is reportedly 6 billion more than UEFA currently gives. So we're going to delve into that in a little bit more detail. Does that change your mind on things? Starting to also see a lot more fans now support their club in this decision making. More people warming to the idea, or maybe just speaking up and saying, do you know what? I don't really care. I don't really care about the smaller clubs in England and in Italy and in Germany and Spain. I just care about my team doing well. We are going to open up the lines because I want to hear from you today. Please feel reassured that if you phone the Football Terrace, we're not going to shoot you down for your opinion. We just want to understand. Thomas Tuchel had spoke out about the situation, the first manager for one of the top clubs to speak about it. Very professional, very articulate interview that he gave. His words were that he trusts Chelsea to make the right decision. And we're going to play the clip for you, but I want to know what you think and feel about it. Is this endorsing the move? Is it sitting on the fence? Is it just a sort of PR-based answer? We want your views and your opinions on this. We've got an update for you on the Champions League and Europa League. Reports yesterday said it was going to be suspended temporarily. It could even be ended, and PSG announced as champions. That appears to be false. The Champions League and the Europa League will go ahead as normal, primarily because the sponsors won't allow it not to go ahead. I also talk. There's currently a meeting going on between all the Premier League teams, excluding the top 6. They're not going to vote to put them out, according to reports this afternoon, for the same reasons the Champions League has to go ahead. TV broadcasters and sponsors have pumped billions of pounds into these two leagues. They have to complete. And I think this is the angle that the big 6 are pulling on, and the other big clubs across Europe is, you need us. Without us, there is no money. Without us, the sponsors pull away. And if you throw it out and you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater because you're upset right now, that in itself could actually cost you even more money, with sponsors refusing to pay. So there's so much going on this piece as it stands right now. More and more news continues to filter its way through. It truly, truly does. But as ever, we want your views and opinions. You're the fans of football. You're the true voices of football. We want to hear from you. There's a comment here that says, "Lol, British people need to realize most of the club's revenue comes from Asia, and we like the Super League." I don't think anybody fails to understand that the majority of money made nowadays comes from TV broadcasting, both national and international, and of course the sale of merchandise around the world. That isn't people's issue. People's issue isn't even some people don't like the format. I'm not really overtly against the idea of a new league being set up, Pierce, if that is really your name. The frustration for people isn't the league that's being created, it's the exclusivity. It's the elitism. It's the closed shop approach that nobody else can penetrate. It's almost like they're going to give out a few golden tickets each year for clubs. Oh, come and join us for a year and earn some of the money and then go back to where you came from. And the worry is that if it does make the domestic competitions collapse, that could ruin things financially for many of the other teams. But the Super League today have confirmed that they would put together a £10 billion solidarity fund to help small clubs stay alive, to help small clubs continue to develop. That is reportedly £6 billion more than UEFA currently gives. Now, something Wayne Rooney said today really stood out to me. It's parts of it he doesn't like the sound of, but let's wait to see the full proposal. Let's wait to understand what's going on. To Thomas Tuchel's point today, Thomas Tuchel said that he trusts his club to make the right decision. I feel he's saying Chelsea know a lot more about this than you. They definitely know more about it than me because he was only told of the decision yesterday. It's almost wait to see the wood for the trees. And I'm sure if it comes out and it's an awful deal for football, the likes of Thomas Tuchel, the likes of Jurgen Klopp, the likes of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are going to speak back against it. Maybe there is an element of overreaction because we don't quite know the information yet. I would still throw it back and say you should have waited till you had all the information before you made it public. But we don't know what triggered them to do that. However, I'm just giving you scenarios here. I want your views and opinions. We'll play the Thomas Tuchel clip for you in just a couple of moments. Time for you to have your say. We've got David backstage, KJ. We're going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say a little bit later as well. But what I need from you right now is that like button to be smashed. We have some super chats to do here. First one is from Legacy One. Breaking news. UEFA reportedly sent emails to the clubs involved in the Super League threatening to withdraw the Champions League titles. It's one. Arsenal and Tottenham say they have received nothing so far. So I didn't know we were building up to a joke there until I got to the punchline. Well written, well constructed joke. I thought it was serious, and that's how a great joke should be done. Arjan here says, Terry, I urge you and the big social media platforms like AFTV, for example, to get together and start a unified fight against this. Listen, I'm up for creating solidarity. I don't know how many YouTubers you'll get to actually work together. They tend not to want to do that. It tends to be the case. AFTV, no, me and Robbie are cool, like 110%. We had DT on the show earlier, as you all saw. But we will see what happens in that space. Oh, sorry. If this was about football, then why no invite for Ajax? Yeah, that's where it doesn't make sense. That's where it doesn't make sense. Tell us why it's I want clarity on this. Why have you picked those clubs? Give us a reason why Tottenham are more deserving than Ajax. Why AC Milan are more deserving than do you know what? In fairness, why are they more deserving than Napoli? Why are Man City more deserving than, as you mentioned, Ajax? I know the German teams have had offensive. I want to understand this. I want to understand what you have to have about your club that makes you qualify for it. There's no doubt. We're going to go to the Thomas Tuchel clip because I think it's a very telling clip. We're going to play that for you right now, and I want your views and opinions.
I know it since yesterday. But I'm here to be in the hardest competition. That's why I came here. That's what I love, to play the toughest competitions in Europe. That's why I'm at Chelsea's. As you know, I don't get involved too much with all the subjects around us. I'm a bit sad that all these subjects are there now, because normally I thought we can talk about the Man City game and, more important, the Brighton game. This is maybe...
Firstly, on that, I completely agree with him. Imagine how he feels getting Chelsea through to a semi-final. We said this yesterday. I think one of the killers in this decision is the timing. Chelsea just knocked out the best team in England. They're through to a final. They're coming of age under Tuchel, and nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to focus on the Super League.
Not the case today, but as you know, I'm part of this club. I want to play these hard competitions, and I trust my club to make the right decisions.
So what do you make of that comment there? He trusts the club to make the right decisions. Let's get some facts sort of motoring around here. Chelsea have made the decision to join the Super League. They have made that decision. He doesn't know much information about it now, but he says he trusts it. What do you make of Thomas Tuchel's point here? You can clearly tell he's holding back from giving a real strong personal opinion on whether he thinks it's right or wrong. But Chelsea at this moment in time think it's the right thing to do. And he has backed and he has put his trust in Chelsea to make the right decision. What I want is to know what you think about his comments there.
And I think it's too early to judge everything, and it's not my part. On my badge from Chelsea, it says I have to play my role. Everybody has to play his role, and my role is to be a coach and to be focused. And we have an important game coming up tomorrow.
And listen, I think he makes a point there. Everyone's got a role to play. But do you want to hear that from managers? And this isn't a Tuchel thing as such, because Jurgen Klopp's going to speak to the press today. They've got a game. The only manager we may not hear from for a few days is Ole, because there is no scheduled press conference because there's no game. What do you want to hear from your coaches? And I'm asking you this question. Do you want to see them push back against it? Do you want to see them answer fairly politically and say, my job is to be the manager of this club. It's the club's decision what competitions it takes part in. What do you actually want to hear from your coaches, from your players in this breath? Tahir says 14 clubs in the Premier League have said they do not want the top 6 in the Premier League. And they can't. That's another thing. It takes 14 clubs to vote, make a decision to vote people out. So we could see them leave. They may not want them, though, Tahir. But not wanting something and needing something is very, very, very different. My granddad didn't used to want to take his insulin for his diabetes, but he had to take it. The problem is the big 6 know, and they are right. Without them, the finances fall, the viewing figures fall out of football, and it implodes. So it becomes a catch-22. It really, really does. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. See a few of these comments here. Slight hesitation talk from TT. I reckon he's against it. Yeah, a lot of people believe that in what he said there. A lot of people believe that's what he said. I think you'll get very similar answers from Klopp. I think you'll get very similar answers from Ollie until the end result comes through. I think it's like with the clubs, right? So you've had like Bayern Munich and PSG. They've all come out and said, we have no plans at this time to join the Super League. None of them, as far as I can see, have come out and been unyielding, unequivocal, undeniable, cast iron and said, this is what we are going to do. This is what we will never do. I think Tuchel's been very smart here. If he says this is a disgrace to the game and then it all goes ahead, he is then managing a team in a competition he said is a disgrace. He's kind of just said, look, I trust Chelsea. It's too early to judge. We'll see the wood for the trees soon. I'm here to coach the team, and we've got an important match to play. Very politically done, very sensible, good PR, good training in terms of what he did there. There's no doubt, not giving an opinion. And let's see what happens. Because if this doesn't go ahead and the clubs decide not to start a Super League and they all go back to the Champions League and it all gets resolved, he can still say, I told you I trust Chelsea, and they changed their mind and made a different choice. Very, very sensible indeed. No doubt about that. I'm going to get David on. I'm going to bring KJ on as well. We're going to share the link very soon for you to come and have your say. They can't go against their employers, would sack them. Now, I know that's true, Baz, but do you want the managers to go against the employers here? I suppose some people are going to look at it and say, well, Tuchel's just backed Chelsea. He's just backed or put his trust in or endorsed or supported, whatever word you want to use. We don't need to get bogged down in semantics. He has said he trusts Chelsea's decision-making. They have made a decision to leave UEFA and start the new Super League. That is, to a degree, that's an endorsement, but it's backed up with, I'm not here to make those decisions. Let's wait and see the wood for the trees and what actually happens, because nothing is set in stone as it stands right now. But I think one thing fans have to realize, this isn't a proposal anymore. The clubs have officially left. They've joined this league. This is not, this is real. As of next, they've joined. This is a real thing. This isn't a threat as it stands right now. So the choices have been made. Let's bring the boys through now. I really want to get their views and their opinions on this. We've got David and KJ with me here. Afternoon, gentlemen. How are you both?
As good as one can be right now. I
want to get you first on this, David. What do you make of what Thomas Tuchel has said? I mean, a lot of Chelsea fans are supporting him, saying he's not backed the decision. For me, I think there's an element of he has, but I understand why he would do that. What's your opinion, mate?
I feel like he's in a bit of a tough position. As he said, he was only told about it yesterday, the same as the rest of us. So for him to come out and be like, I 100% back this, or I 100% don't agree with this. Again, for us, it's easy to do because we have nothing on the line. He has his job, he has his family, he has everything on the line. So to come out and then to be completely against what his owner has done wouldn't make any sense because he has the potential to lose his job. Would I have liked him to say I don't agree with it? Of course I would have, because that's my opinion as of right now. But I understand that I trust what Chelsea will do, and it's put him in a position where it's like me with on form. That's a get out of jail free card. If this doesn't happen, he could be like, I trusted them and they did the right thing, in my opinion. But if they do go through, he said, I trusted them at the time and they carried on with what they were doing. So I'm not angry at Tuchel. That's the thing. Like, there's no being angry at your manager for what they say about this doesn't make sense, because that's not where your anger should be directed right now. should be directed to the entities who have agreed to do this in the first place, if you are against it.
Yeah, of course. And I think it depends on what side of the fence you sit on. I feel that Tuchel, because he's got almost universal support from Chelsea fans, I said that we tweeted out. I didn't actually tweet it. Admin did, that Tuchel has backed Chelsea's decision. And I saw, this is how I also know football's not dead today. The Twitter account then gets into an argument over semantics for half an hour. It was, well, he didn't say the word back, did he? Yeah, he said he trusts, but they all mean the same thing. Like they mean the same thing. And seeing fans argue over semantics tells me football ain't dead. As far as I can see right now, it is breathing. But Ollie's going to give a very similar answer. Klopp's going to give a very similar. I can actually see Klopp being quite guarded tonight, and very much like, we're here to talk football. I don't want to speak about it in relation to that. How about yourself, KJ? When you see Thomas Tuchel saying that, how do you feel about his words?
Pretty indifferent, really, because at the end of the day, he ain't the man who decided to do this. You know what I'm saying? The managers ain't the people who decided to make the Super League a thing. And when I see people wanting managers, i.e. Ollie, come out and say certain things, and if they don't, you're Ollie out and you're disgraced. I'm just like, listen, he is just found out. If Thomas Tuchel only found out yesterday, Klopp, Pep, Ollie, all these managers have just found out. Jose just found out he got the boot as well, so that's kind of peak for him. You know what I'm saying? But these guys, I think their most important job right now is protecting the players. Because these players have fought so hard this season to get to where they get to, that for this to be sprung upon them is unfair. For the threat of their seasons being cancelled, their international careers to be over, potentially, over what their club did, is unfair. So I want my manager and every other manager right now to protect your team, protect your players, and focus on that, because that's all they can do at the end of the day. If they come out and said something, I want it to be a united front of me and the players have decided to go and strike against these actions until further notice. If it ain't that, protect yourselves, protect the players.
Yes, 110%. I don't think. I mean, I know Bruno Fernandes shared something on a tweet earlier that was kind of like supportive of the Champions League dream type thing. I haven't actually seen it. I've just seen some about it. I mean, most players don't actually control their social media. So was that him or was it someone associated? Interestingly, I've just read this. This is the thing. There's so much news today. It's hard to consume it all. UEFA president Alexander, I think how's it pronounced? Is it
Seferin?
Seferin. Thought so. He says if I start with Ed Woodward, he called me last Thursday evening saying he was very satisfied with and fully supports the reform. The only thing he wants to talk about was FFP, when obviously he had already signed something else. See, when I see that, this is what's annoyed me today from Man United fans, is a lot of I've seen fake Klopp tweets making Ollie outers attack Ollie, like things like a madness. These owners have done this behind everybody's back. None of these managers were informed of what was going on. They're not good enough actors. You know, Jurgen Klopp, how disappointed did he look to go out of the Champions League? How under pressure has he looked in recent weeks because they're not in the top four? How excited of West Ham looked as an example? How happy was Ollie after our recent wins? How happy with the team when they got into the semi-finals of the Europa League? When it comes to Arsenal, look at how they celebrated just yesterday an equaliser in a kind of nothing dead rubber game. Look at the celebrations when they slapped Slavia Prague. You're telling me those players and managers knew this was happening? Absolutely, categorically not. And the only people pushing those kind of agendas are people that have issues with certain managers or certain players at football clubs. And do you know how I know this? Because no one is attacking Jurgen Klopp, Pep, or Thomas Tuchel with this. It's only the managers that are under pressure that are being labelled as cowards and yes men, which I think it's absolutely embarrassing today of all days, where a lot of people feel like football as they know it could be coming to an end. And we don't know that yet. I think Anita spoke impeccably well on that earlier on today. But they're using it as another stick to beat a manager over the head with that they do not like. And I just think that is I think it's a bit weak and a little bit shameless, and you're basing it on nothing. It's not even based on a rumor. It's just based on, I'm going to say it because I want people to give Ollie some shit.
It's based on, no, Ollie hasn't even spoken yet. It's disgrace. And not mad, yeah? Woodward, I've been telling you about this Walla, this prick. I've been telling you about this, and I've had people come out and be like, nah, Woodward's not that bad. Oh, no, but he spends money. Oh, but he's trying his best. Blah, 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 blah. I told you, I've given you examples of how much of a snake this man is.
Yeah,
how much of a snake he is. And now you guys want to be like, oh, Ed Woodward. Oh, I can't believe. Shut up, man. We knew from day that my man was a snake and a wallad and a pagan.
Do you know what's mad about it all? Is we've sat on here and taken calls from Ollie outers. But when you speak about how bad and how there's no respect from these owners towards our club and towards football, we've actually had them say words on this show like, oh, they ain't that bad. They ain't that bad. We knew what they were all about. Listen, doesn't mean that Ollie's football, when it's bad, doesn't need to be criticised, by the way. Let's just throw that out there. But I'm just a little disappointed with some people's energy today and the way that they're directing it and who they're directing it at. There's no doubt. Gents, I want to speak about the Solidarity Fund. There is a comment here from James Wilson that says Super League will save football. Madrid and Barca are skint. The Premier League and the Liga won't exist without a big Super League clubs. I don't know who the two people are there.
And Eva.
Who are they? Are they clubs?
Spanish team.
Yeah, it's Spanish team. Average Spanish team.
Norwich and Wolves on a Super Sunday. Rio and Neville in tears. Do you know what it is? I understand from a financial standpoint why something like this is needed and why there are so many issues here, but everybody's conflating them all together. Some people, do you actually like the footballing format of it? Is it too much? Like I've seen some people say, how is it boring to have all these big games every midweek? Some people think the novelty will wear off and it become boring. That's a footballing argument. Do you like the concept? The other side of it, the second argument is the elitism, that not everybody will get the opportunity, no matter how well they do in their league, to compete in it on a regular basis. Those two things are different. Yes, it can save certain teams, and yes, it's more entertaining than watching West Brom versus Norwich. That isn't the argument when what Gary Neville is talking about. It's the elitism and the lack of ability for teams to reach it. And then the third point is, if leagues collapse because the Premier League clubs are not involved in them, what's the ramifications lower down the pyramid? Now, this fund they're talking about, this £10 billion, it's 6 billion more than UEFA pump in right now that's going to go into small clubs. That encourages me. I'm like, okay, this sounds good. But I need to see the color of their money. I want to know this is put and it's secured in a bond that cannot be touched no matter what goes wrong with the league. And it's secured for grassroots football, non-league football, and the lower league divisions. And, you know, those kind of things, you might suddenly start seeing a Gary Neville go, actually, that's pretty damn good. I wish I knew that before I spoke up about it, but you didn't give us that information. And this is what we need to see. We need to see the color of the money and the instructions they're taking. From your point of view, KJ, for you to get on board with this, I'm not saying you will get on board, but for you to get on board, does there need to be an element of protecting the lower echelons of the game?
Yes, there needs to be a protection of the sport as a whole. If you are complaining, because one of the guys, the one who runs Juve, was complaining about competitiveness. If you complain about competitiveness, then invest into the structure of the game of football. So if they came out and said from the beginning, we see the football is dying, quality, structure, infrastructure is slowly dying, and interest from younger people is dying. So what we want to do is have enough money to inject into the leagues, all the leagues in Europe that they can. We want to inject that money, bring the quality up of all teams so that all leagues are competitive. And to do that, we've decided to make this competition where XYZ, because this will fund it. I would be like, okay, cool, I understand that. But that's not why they've done it. This whole solidarity thing is an afterthought. It's since we're getting this much money to help people get on side, let's just say we give them some peace. No, it should have been the core of the whole argument. And I also think this: if you're going to do a Super League for the top clubs, why don't you make a league for every tier of the top teams in Europe. So you've got the Europa League and you're gonna have the Conference League. Why didn't they make? All right, cool. So you've got the European Super League for the elite clubs, and to get to that, you have to compete against other European clubs in your thing in a different one, in a different league below that. And then again, to get into that bracket, everyone else from the top leagues, you have to fight out in the lowest bracket in the European competition. So there's a massive European ladder to get to that top echelon. That I would be supportive of because it is competitive, it's fairness, it allows teams to grow and get better with a goal and a dream in mind.
Yeah. There's a comment here from Baz1 that says the solidarity fund will die off when the noise goes away. This is Walmart economics at its worst. They will let the rest die slowly. And that's the concern with this. Again, I want to see facts. I want to see figures. I understand that the founding clubs are signing a weird amount of time. Maybe
23 years.
23-year agreement. So I want to see a 20-year 3 agreement committing to this. If it's 10 billion over a 3-year period, then however how much that works out over a 23-year period, I'm not going to do the math on that right now. I want to see that committed. I want to see it in writing, and you put an inflation clause into that as well. As the league grows, whatever percentage the league revenue grows by, or profits grow by each year, revenue, sorry, because it comes out revenue grows by each year, the solidarity fund increases. A comment here says 10 billion committed by the ESL to the solidarity fund, 5-year committed period the clubs have made. By the way, there is no reverse gear on this competition starting in August. What do you mean by no reverse gear?
I'm guessing he's trying to say it is happening. You know what I mean?
Like,
I think he's trying to say they won't go back on the whole thing.
That's the interesting thing. Legacy One says this is the day that football became soccer. There we go. MX24 here says football is dead. Someone said that's 76 billion. Look at a quick math there. Quick math. 76 billion. Well, I want to see it committed plus inflation. Yeah. It has to be done, and then we can start to look at it and go, okay, well, that's 76 billion. How much does that compare to
UEFA, like the current UEFA like standards? Yeah,
because maybe So go on.
I was gonna say, me and KJ were talking just before this, and it was like, if JP Morgan want to put in this 4.6 billion injection that they've been talking about, however much it is, why didn't they just do that into the new Champions League? There's already a system there that has been altered and agreed on by those other clubs who have now gone off to their own Super League. Why not just go there and then just put that money there? Because again, no, that new format, they'd already said, "Oh, we'll make exceptions if you guys do badly in your leagues." So again,
I tell you why though, mate, because what they're doing, they're removing the middleman. So they're taking out UEFA and FIFA and the FAs, etc. They're making their money from this. This has nothing to do with them. All the money is going to belong to the founding clubs. They're going to hold the trump cards, as it were, and hold the power. If they did that with the Champions League and there was an extra 10 billion pound that gets pumped in, UEFA take a big cut of that. It's their competition. It's their name. It's their brand. They're like, okay, we're going to own some of that. They're just saying, oh, we're going to go off and do our own thing. And I wouldn't necessarily I've got no issues with the top competition in itself. Yeah. We need to see the wood for the trees. We need the detail here on what this is potentially going to do. I almost feel like there needs to be these are the facts. You kind of debate it, and then you can really put yourself where you want to be. Prime's with us now. Prime, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah. Very, very well. What's your thoughts, first of all, on Thomas Tuchel and what he said today, sort of backing Chelsea's decision and saying that he trusts them, that they've made the right choice? What did you make of his comments, mate?
Sorry, is that central? Yeah. It's him saying that he'll trust Chelsea's made the right decision. It's not him literally agreeing with the whole Super League thing. I think just because, again, like he's saying, he's an employee of the club, and essentially he's an employee of the club, but he's not necessarily going to speak out and go against it. So he's just saying that he's trusting Chelsea to have made the right decision. I've watched the actual press conference. He didn't say that he agrees with it or anything. So until he comes out and says that, or other managers or whatever come out and say that, or players give their own opinion, they can only really essentially fall in with the club, because If they don't, they're going to get fined.
If I make a decision, though, if I do something, and you say, and people are criticizing me, Terry was wrong to sack KJ, and you say I trust Terry's decision making, is that you? That's you backing my decision, is it not?
Well, no, because if saying that I trust you to have made the right decision does not mean I agree with said decision.
So you would agree, you would trust someone you don't agree with? Is that what you're saying?
My parents can trust me to make a decision about something. It doesn't necessarily mean that the decision that I make is something that they would want me to make, or they would agree with.
But he said,
that they are trusting me to make the right decision, wherever the fallout may be. And again, for now, what it seems like the teams are doing the Super League, but nothing's like officially 100% confirmed or 100% going through.
I would agree with that analogy in the whole sense that yes, as parents, you can trust your child to go and do whatever they need to do to be a good person or whatever, and may not think that is what you would want to do. But that's because that only affects them. Yeah. This is affecting Thomas Tuchel and the players and the fans. It's not just like this is just affecting Chelsea and that's it. This is affecting the whole of the football sphere. So that's why I feel like I didn't think he should have mentioned him trusting Chelsea. I think he should have just protected the players and focused on the football personally.
But he did. Did you watch the press conference? Because
yes, I did.
He did protect the players.
He did,
because they were asking him things like how is this going to affect like the players and their preparation, and essentially the answers and the replies he was given was like, for him it's essentially nothing to think about.
But my point,
I said I didn't want him to back.
Guys, we watched. We played a fair part of. We played the bit that we're talking about in here as well, so people have seen it through this. I'm not having a pop here at Tuchel. I think Tuchel gave the answer, which I think everybody's going to give. But the point is this: the decision has been made to join the Super League. Now one thing Tuchel is absolutely right on is we don't know the details yet, so it's too soon to judge. But if the details come out and we're leaving the Prem, and that's going to destroy other clubs, if some of the bad things we think may happen start to happen, any player or manager that sticks with one of the big clubs that's done that is agreeing with that decision, though, right?
Well, yes, once everything comes out. But as of now, like he said, he doesn't know much. So and
that's fine. And that's fine. So right now, he is backed. I'll change my word then, because it seems to be the semantics here. He is supported and put trust in their decision as it stands right now based on what he knows. Yes, which is fine. And I think that's a sensible place to stay for everyone. I already said that at the top of the video. What's going to be interesting is when we start to see the wood for the trees. I think what's going to happen is this. Forget the managers. As we see that our coaches and it'll be different, Chelsea fans will react different to how Man United fans will react, because a lot of our fans don't like Ollie. You guys love Tuchel. When you love someone and hate them, you judge their behavior in a situation very, very differently. If Ollie gives the answers Tuchel gives, he'll be called a puppet and a yes man. It'll be called a puppet because people don't like him. And that's the way things are. It's going to be, for me, I'm just intrigued to see people's mental gymnastics with it, because that's what I see going on here. Depending on who the manager is saying it, if Jurgen Klopp says that I trust the thing, he'll be attacked because he's always put across the image of the working class man. And, we do the right things. We behave a certain way. And I'm not having a pop at Thomas Tuchel. Let me reiterate this again so that anyone in the back who's not listening that wants to get upset and offended, I think he has said the right thing. He has not nailed his flag to a particular mast. But if we see the wood for the trees and we see this, and people universally think this is a bad decision for football, he is openly, he has currently, and he may continue to back that decision. What I find really interesting is this, though, as I'll go back to the original point. Depending on how you feel about your club and your manager, I think you'll slowly start to see people come to terms with the idea of the Super League, because the love for their club's going to shine through. Although everyone yesterday was like, I'm done, I'm finished, I'm over it. We put out one tweet that says Tuchel backs the decision of Chelsea, and he didn't actually say it. You see the fighting, and people will frame it to protect what they love. And at the moment, you love your manager, and people definitely love their football clubs. I'm just intrigued to see how that comes across moving forward. It's going to be interesting. Ollie outers are going to be on a mad one with it. City fans, I don't think there'll be so much. Liverpool fans will definitely be against it no matter what goes on. I'm just really intrigued to see the fallout of this. It's going to be amazing to see. London Trident here says Real Madrid, Chelsea, Man City will be removed on Friday, announced by UEFA. When was that announced? Has that just been announced? Has that just happened? Does anybody else know? I haven't seen that.
I've not seen
No,
that.
Oh,
I've
hang on. 24 minutes ago, here on the tweet here. Oh, wow. UEFA executive committee member and head of Danish FA, Jasper Muller, tells broadcasters DR he expects Chelsea, Real Madrid and Man City to be kicked out of this season's Champions League. Clubs must go, and I expect it to happen on Friday. Wow. I mean, that's what's changed. We went live and the media was saying it isn't going to happen. Now they're saying Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Man City are going to be kicked out of the Champions League. That is, I mean, how do you feel about that, Prime? I mean, Tuchel has come out and said he trusts them to make the right decision. How will it make you feel if you get kicked out of the Champions League because of this now?
I'll be furious. Like I'm against how the thought of having a Super League. It does kind of make sense, but the way they're going about it is just wrong completely. It's being done purely out of money and greed, not from any real logical standpoint.
So what? So you don't trust your club has made the right decision then?
Well, I trust Roman. So if you're like a Man United fan or a Liverpool fan or Arsenal fan, you don't really trust your board. So that's fully understandable saying you don't trust them. But I do trust Roman. So there must be, from a club standpoint and a financial standpoint from the club, which is probably a selfish point of view to look at it, I understand that and I get it. But in terms of the wider aspect of football.
But hang on a minute. You've just said that this is being done for greed. Your club's doing it. If your club's doing it for greed, hang on. So if it's being done for greed and your club's doing it for greed, and you don't trust your club because you think they're doing it for greed, then how can you back Tuchel for saying he trusts the club?
Because Tuchel said this before this came out, didn't he? So unless he comes out again,
I'm not talking. Forget this. You said it's being done for greed, but then at the same time you're saying Tuchel's right to say he trusts the club. I'm confused. If it's
because he said that before this came out, and I'm responding to this statement.
But people have been called. You said it was greed yesterday as well.
Well, yes, because there's multiple points of view to look at it. I'm looking at it from a club perspective, from a Chelsea solely point of view. I understand it. And I get that.
Financially for Chelsea and Man United and Arsenal, this is a brilliant decision. But does that mean it should be endorsed?
Well, depending on how you look at it. My opinion may be different from someone else's opinion.
No, I'm asking your opinion.
I don't know, because it is selfish, but the idea of having it's how they're going about it. But having a Super League in general, or give it a different name, whatever, I agree with. But it's just the approach and the way they're going about it is wrong. But I do agree with having some sort of a competition like that, because I think it would be interesting.
KJ, you look thinking hard.
I'm just trying to listen and understand. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything in particular. I've got nothing else to say really. But I want there to be reform in football. I want there to be reform in football. This is not the reform I want, though. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I really, really do. We're going to open up the lines now for you all to come on and have your say. We want your views and opinions on everything that's gone on today. The news that Chelsea, Man City, and Real Madrid will be kicked out of the Champions League this Friday. I wonder if teams can return. That should be the sensible thing.
The thing is, with this, like, oh, we're going to kick you out. You know that there's going to be lawsuits left, right, and centre from these clubs. Like we saw it when City got banned. You've ever seen the picture from the
video of all the lawyers from.
Literally, UEFA bring 3-4 lawyers. City bring trucks and vans and all these, literally showing up with an army of lawyers. If you kick out Chelsea, Real Madrid, and City, all three of those clubs combined are worth more probably than UEFA. They will bring serious heat and make sure they will at least finish this year's competition. And again, when people talk about punishment of deducting points and so on, financially punish them as much as you want. I've got no problem with that. But again, when we talk about affecting players' performances over the year, I don't think deducting points is the right thing, because once again, these managers and these players, even though their boards gave them the players, these managers and the players are ultimately the ones who have, fought for their club and have put them in the position they're currently in. I don't think it's right on their behalf for all their hard work just to be cut in half, basically. Imagine you put a 40-point deduction on all these top 6 teams. That means effectively 40% of your 50% of your work doesn't exist anymore. Imagine you go to work, you go for the whole year, and they pay you half your money. Just because
of what their company did. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I completely agree. This is what happens with the transfer window. When Chelsea had their transfer ban, it wasn't the players or the manager that were breaking the rules. It was the club. Like, this is what happens. Your club does something and it damages. What's that saying? It's like so often in life, the minority will ruin things for the majority. I work for an organization that did something illegal, and it caused a big international news. And it cost that bank hundreds of millions of pounds in fines. It was out of 180,000 employees, it was like 4 people. But it's 4 people who ruined it for absolutely everybody. Ed Woodward has called for an emergency meeting with players and staff. Players are kicking off, apparently. Of course they're kicking off. Their season's being undone. It really is. But this is where you see the proof in the pudding of people. Like, I'm going to use Rashford as an example because I like Rashford. He goes in there. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. By the way, you're going to get double your salary when this happens. Then you see,
and then Marcus, you can feed more kids. How about that? You know what I'm saying?
That's when you see the true color of it. I'm not saying Rashi will accept it or what. I don't know what he'll do. But what I find interesting about those sorts of situations is the kind of the mental gymnastics. Actually though, but look what I could do with that money, my family, my future, charities I look after and whatnot. It'll be amazing. Aaron here says the protests have already started outside Anfield. Really don't know how this is going to play out. Let's all hope and pray it's a power play, whether we like it or not. This happens. All the clubs will follow. I agree with you on that. Nicholas says, Terry, I want to put a banner outside the London MUFC offices. I've been told the offices have moved from Mayfair. Do you know? I was told they didn't have any offices in London anymore. So last time I checked, they did have them in Mayfair, not far from where I used to work, to be fair. Comment here, I'm Irish, but I'll sing Football's Coming Home with Boris Johnson. If this Super League fails, apart from that, I'll get Roy Keane to join in as well. Can you imagine that? An Irishman here, man like Matty, singing Football's Coming Home with Boris Johnson, an Irishman singing an English football song with a conservative politician. Do you know what? Maybe the Super League is going to heal long span.
Super League for United World Peace.
Wait, someone in the football world called it a football nuclear war. Yes, bring it. Let it destroy everything so we can start again. I'm telling you.
I hear you on that. We're going to go to some calls here. We're going to get Monster Ahmed on the line. Big Liverpool fan. What you saying, bro?
Hi guys. Hi, Terry. Yeah, absolutely disgraceful, isn't it? These last 24 hours, I don't know. For me, it felt like something in my heart just left. That's how it felt after in the last 24 hours, because it's a disgrace from my club. It's a disgrace from the Big Six, and it's all money. It is all money. I mean, I don't have no sympathy for any of the broadcasters, nor for the government or anything. I don't care about them. The sympathy I have is for the fans, and it's for the clubs that almost try their hardest to make an earning in the lower leagues. And Sky Sports, and I know I'm quoting Sky Sports here, but they've just come out with a report saying that one of the members on the top 6 clubs, who's a elite board member, has said the primary concern is to maximize profit and revenue. The good of the game is a secondary concern. Now that says it all for me. You don't care about the games, and I know you guys are saying that they're gonna put money into the lower leagues. Do you really trust the Glazers? They haven't done it to their own clubs in the last few years. John Henry, Quanky, they haven't pumped money into their own clubs in the last few years. You think they're going to do it for the lower leagues? All they're going to do is put a PR stunt on it and say, "Oh, we'll do it, we'll do it, we'll do it." Everyone gets happy with the Super League, and then that's it. It'll die out, and no one will remember about it.
Yeah, man,
I don't care if it.
You're right, man. That's what we said. Allegedly, they're gonna put 10 billion into these clubs, isn't it?
I'm telling you, man. Forget allegedly. It's definitely not going to happen because that's going in the back of their pockets. I'm just going to say that now. And on the comments I kind of earlier put, and I want to apologize to the Chelsea and City fans. I don't mean to say that all your fans are saying it's a good thing. I just say there's a few fans saying it's a good thing, but the thing is, you don't have a rich heritage and strong history like Liverpool and United do, because we've bought the club based on the fans, and that rich heritage is being tarnished. It's been pissed about, and literally the clubs don't care. And I just can't watch football anymore. I love the sport, but it's going to be difficult to watch. And people say, "Oh, you're going to watch the Super League. You're going to watch the Super League." It's football. End of the day, you love football. How can you not watch football? But then what they do.
Monster, what's even worse about it? Sorry to cut you off, but the worst thing is that the four biggest antagonists is that the right word? Protagonists, or whatever, for this thing are probably four of arguably like the top 10 most richest history clubs in the world. Like Real Madrid are number 1, United, Liverpool 2 and 3, Arsenal you can argue maybe 4 5 with Barcelona. Yeah. Those top 4 are the biggest people who want this to happen. That's the worst thing about it. City and Chelsea are new to this. Like, we're new to this, so we don't have that, that rich history that you guys do, and we can admit that. But the fact that your clubs are the ones that are pushing it, if it came from City, Chelsea, PSG, it would make so much more sense, so much more. But it's come from these clubs that have built themselves on this. We play football the right way. We're the ones who are doing it, not the way that these new guys have come in and ruined it for everyone else.
And again, we had this yesterday where it says, for me, it's like, yes, that may be the fact, but your club still said yes, and Man still said yes. You know what I mean? At least you guys could have said no. You know what I'm saying? So the finger pointing in all this is all useless, because all the fingers need to be pointed out, all those pagans, and UEFA and the Premier League for allowing these things to fester for years and years and years.
Absolutely right. Let me just say this now to any Chelsea fans. We spoke about Tuchel's comments because he's the first guy to speak about it. I will be, to the best of my ability, forensically analysing what Klopp says, what Ollie says, what Ryan Mason can get a pass on this. He's just gone into the job. God bless him. But I'm gonna be looking what all these people have got to say, because I care about what they've got to say and everything else. And do you know what I really hope? I hope that we're all wrong, the ones that are negative. I hope that this actually makes football even better, and we're just frustrated right now, scared to change whatever it is. I really do. But there's something about this. I've just had this I've been walking around now for 24 hours, and I've just got this horrible feeling. It's something. I've had it all day. Like there's something missing. Like have I left the iron on or something? I don't know what it is. It's in the back of my head. Something it doesn't feel right.
And Terry, also, you look at the owners; they haven't got a good track history of doing something that's good for them from the bottom of the heart. They're all greedy, selfish, care about their own money, and they don't care about their clubs. And it's I felt on my soul just left, and it's just weird because there's more important things in life than football. But it's one of those things where it's damning. It's damning. It's absolutely damning.
I hear you. Listen, Monster, thank you very, very much for coming on and having your say. So we've been live for 49 minutes. News has changed while we've been live. When we went live, there were reports coming from Spain, Italy, and England that the Champions League would continue as normal. But, and we have tweeted out about this, UEFA committee member and head of the Danish FA, Jasper Moller, has told a Danish TV company that he expects by Friday, Chelsea, Madrid, and Man City to be kicked out of this season's Champions League. We want your thoughts. We want your feelings on this right now, especially Chelsea fans that have done so well to get there. City fans, you're so close to winning your first ever Champions League. How do you feel? We've got the Winter Surfer that's coming on with us now. Man like Andrew, big Chelsea fan. What are you saying, mate?
Yeah, what a difference 24 hours, mate. Saturday night, I was euphoric, looking forward to the end of the season. Playing Real Madrid for the first time in the Champions League in our history. Really excited, even though it's not the Bernabeu, not in front of fans. And then they dropped this. I'm not shocked about this European Super League. I'm disappointed by the timing. It's totally ruined everyone's season that it's got something to play for. And we've got a game tomorrow. I'm not bothered about the game tomorrow. I don't really care. It's not top of my priority. And what they've done, Monsters, right? What they've done is they've just literally. I mean, last year the football stopped because of a global pandemic. We understood that, right? This time it's been brought on by these greedy effing. I don't want to say the next word, but I don't want to say that word. But it's just ripped the excitement of me as a Chelsea fan from 2.5 months ago, not even thinking about a Champions League semi-final, an FA Cup final, finishing in the top 4, to now going, is there any point? And now you're saying we're going to be kicked out, or we might be kicked out on Friday. I mean, what is the point? People are going to say to me, "Oh, go support another team." I can't do that. Chelsea's my religion. I can't support another team. Do you know what I mean? But
I have my religion. You're a fam. Give me Aston Villa. You're a fam. People think I'm serious. Oh, it's Celtic, bro. Screw it, fam. I don't care, bro.
But that's what. But what fascinates me more is like the 14 other Premier League clubs don't want us in. But what fascinates me is when Sky, BT, and Amazon, the other side, the business side, stop in and say to these guys, the next TV deal, we're not paying billions for your Premier League because you haven't got the top 6 sides in it. What's the point?
They're not going to, and that's the thing here. They don't. These 14 clubs are furious with this, but they're going to be stuck. They're going to be absolutely stuck with us, and it's just horrible. I mean, the only good thing, I suppose, I think it will create a fair. I mean, imagine the animosity in the opening stage of next season. If next season goes ahead as normal, when Man United come to town, and you know what the crowd's going to be like. It's going to be for all our teams. It's going to be ferocious. It really is.
Terry, nothing stops these TV companies from being like, well, no top 6 teams anymore. We'll buy out this contract, and we will get those contracts for the Super League. We will buy them out, and
they'll do, because the corporates are all pulling on the fans. The corporates don't care. They are the thing is, to a degree, if a corporate company is going to make the best decision it can to make itself money, they're a business. I know football clubs on paper are businesses, but it's where they're born from. It's what they are. You don't want it to be. It's like the NHS. We don't run the NHS run like a business. You want it run like the institute that it was originally created as. You don't want to see. You're a religious man, KJ. And churches definitely have business accounts and bank accounts. I used to manage them, but you don't want them to be run. It's like, do you know what? We could feed an extra 50 people today, but it's going to make us use our overdraft. We don't want to use that. It's not good for business. You feed them homeless people if you can. Like, again, you can't bankrupt yourselves. Otherwise, you can't help anybody. There has to be an element of sense. But certain industries, you don't want them run like a standalone for-profit business. They shouldn't be a for-profit business. They should be, all the money that's being made, unless you're giving it out to the local area, should be for the betterment of that team, or the betterment of that church, or the betterment of the school that it's in, or the betterment of that hospital, whatever it is. There's certain institutions that should be run purely and solely to make
profit.
Yeah, not for profit, but to make them the best they can possibly be. Andrew, mate, appreciate you coming on and having your say. Top man. The Podfather says Champions League moving top 4 teams was for greed. FFP was to stop small clubs getting bigger. I can tell you now, clubs have more fans outside the UK and don't give a damn for a pyramid. Roman Roman for life, supporting the decision there. And listen, like we said earlier, everybody is free to believe in what they want. If they want to back it, of course you can do that. We'd love to know why you're backing it. Why can't the Premier League board and UEFA stop their control, accept and allow the teams to play their leagues? Money. That's the one thing they would say. The reason UEFA are panicking is they're going to lose money. So again, I'm not backing UEFA here. Like, none of my arguments have been about the Champions League per se, or even UEFA. I don't mind reform. I don't mind new competitions. The Premier League literally is that. It's about it's just about the fairness, the competitiveness, and making sure we protect the lower echelons of the game and the local communities, businesses, incomes, livelihoods, hobbies of the communities that those football clubs surround. It is imperative. It is cultural. It is deep-rooted, not just in England. But in Spain and in Italy and in Germany and all across the world, it's culture. It really, really is. And I don't think we should be just undoing that. I will say this. Wow. Okay. When the Nazis took over Germany, there were a few good people left proud to be German. Blind trust in these clubs is misplaced. It's a deep comment. I'm going to leave it there, Baz. I'm going to leave it there. UEFA says UEFA never cared about the fans until now. Yeah, exactly. Don't trust UEFA chatting poo. I've got some more calls to do here. We're going to get Big Mike on, and then we're going to get Lamin on. We've got Baz. He's actually backstage as well, and he needs to explain that comment. I need to know what he meant by that. We've got Big Mike who's coming on now. What are you saying, Big Mike?
Hey, I just want to say first, don't come at me. I'm just going to give the antagonist point of view. The way I first saw this when the news came out was that this is just going to be another competition similar to what we have in the summers when the United go to Americas or China and do a tournament or whatever. But this is going to be more formalized, and it's not going to interfere with the league or the Champions League. But the Premier League and other leagues and the Champions League went immediately on defense and saw this as an attack versus them. And they went full out attack on the league and says, we're going to kick you out. You can't join, all these different things. But I think the perspective and what the clubs are looking at is a separate competition in addition to the Premier League and the Champions League, so that it can make money from both the Premier League and the Champions League. If you look at the letter, they said they wanted the league to their Super League to start in August. And that's before the group stage of the Champions League, or group stage of the Champions League starts. And they said, I believe in the letter, it said a midweek competition. So I think they were looking at it from a perspective where they play the group stages game, the 10 or so games in August, finish in September. Then they go play in the Champions League, get the money from that. And then they continue in the other competitions and play out the playoffs or whatever they call it of the latter stage of the Super League whenever it's available.
The Super League is intended to replace the Champions League. They physically cannot play. Think about this: English teams, there's 6 of them, yeah? Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Champions League or Europa League, and Super League. They are not going to be able to play 5 competitions. It's physically impossible. You've seen teams like Liverpool complain about the Club World Cup when that gets added into their schedule as well. So literally, the Super League is there to replace the Champions League for these teams. That's the only thing I'm going to say about what you just said.
Yeah, so I don't see it like as that. I think like they're going to do whatever is going to maximize the most profits. So you'll see them maybe sending a youth team to the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup instead of the Champions League and the league. And if you look at the I can't remember who it was. I think it was some spokesperson for the Super League said we look forward to working with the Premier League and the Champions League in the future.
No, so they said UEFA. They said UEFA.
UEFA. And so I see it as they want the best case of all 3 of the competitions: the league, the Champions League, and the Super League.
Do you think that's even possible?
We're just waiting for more details.
Do you think that's even possible? How physically can they even schedule all of these games into a season? For the English teams. Possible.
It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. So therefore saying, it's there to try and include with the Champions League. For me, it makes no logical sense because it's physically impossible.
The only way that kind of works, and this is just pie in the sky without really looking at the math, is for these big clubs to not participate in the FA Cup or the League Cup, and for the Champions League to be shrunk so that it's a lot smaller. Just because game-wise, it's just, I mean, if you've got what 15 teams, that means you're going to play 28 games because they've all got to play each other. Then you've got playoffs and knockout stages later on. That's practically that's almost
like another whole season.
Even if they only play each other, maybe they play each other once, that's 14. You're still looking at 20 additional games. It's a hell of a lot of football to get done. For me, I think you're along the right track. I think what they want to look to do, and maybe this is something they'll yield on, is an element of the Super League is Europe's version of the Premier League. The Champions League becomes Europe's version of the Championship, and it's something you win. And maybe if you win that, you're one of the 5 teams that gets to go into the Super League the following year or whatnot. The problem is UEFA are never going to agree to it because that devalues their brand so much. They lose so much money. The Premier League clubs are in association with UEFA and with everybody else, and they're right now standing by their kind of partners, so they're saying no to it. But this is where where the chickens will come home to roost. It's who's going to blink first. The Premier League are like basically saying we'll kick you out. Will they? If the Premier League says we're not going to kick you out, you're here to stay, the other clubs do that, then UEFA's left by themselves. If UEFA are left by themselves, they're weak because they've got their league and they've got this new Super Cup. UEFA's not needed anymore. The money's still in the game, if not increased. It's going to be, but I don't see a way of getting all 3 tournaments to coexist at the same time, just for timing reasons, really, mate. But, Big Mike, great call. Like I say, we're no echo chambers here, so no matter what the opinion, mate, you can come on and speak. When I first saw Big Mike, I was like, I thought Stormzy was here. I was like, listen, bro, take care, mate, and I'll speak to you in a minute. We've got man like Lamin on the line now. Lamin, what you saying, bro? Give me your thoughts on this scandalous idea.
Terry, you know what? Yeah, I've been fasting now, and when I heard this news, yeah, I actually felt like just swearing at these man, man. I don't. It's just the whole idea of it for me. It's just anti-sports. The whole reason why I fell in love with football, I fell in love with sports, is the idea of like you can go from nothing to something. Like it's the idea that like you can have a Leicester City, you can have a team that basically can grow their team and actually achieve something incredible. With the whole idea of the Super League, what I really don't like is just that there's no relegations and this founding teams. Who gave them this God-given right to be in there indefinitely? That I just think it's anti-sport and I don't like it at all. I think all of this is probably just a negotiation tactic to just get more money out. But if it does happen, I'm actually questioning my love for Chelsea and whether or not I actually want to continue to support this team. Because to me, it's that deep. And the whole reason why I support teams and I support Chelsea, and it's because like I like the competition. I only want to win something if I feel like we deserve it. I don't want to be in a competition just because like it's given to us. I don't want anything. I don't like when you win something in sports, you don't want it to be given to you. You want to earn it, and that's the whole thing about it as fans. Because at the end of the day, when we won the 2012 Champions League, I felt like we earned it because of the amount of times we suffered over the years and the heartbreaks that we've had. But with this, it just doesn't feel real. It feels artificial. And for me, I can't back that. I don't know how I'm going to do it, not supporting Chelsea, or maybe I won't watch football anymore. Because if it goes, for me, it's that deep. Like I don't see myself backing something like this because it's just not real to me.
Do you want to know how embarrassing this could be? I don't know how true these reports are. There are reports that Schalke, who are bottom of the Bundesliga, have reached out asking if they can join.
That's fake. That's fake.
When I saw it, right, because I see some like verified accounts sharing it, but it's in German, so I don't know if it was a joke or I don't know who they are. But listen, Lamin, I agree with you. And listen, not everybody looks at sport like you. And that's also fair. Some people are elitists. Some people are natural elitists and are like, no, it's survival of the fittest. If you've got the money, you go to the top, don't worry about everybody else. And that's their place, and that's how they look at things. What I love about sport is the dream. It's that it's the dream that you can start somewhere. And the irony in all of it is that if Chelsea were not given that dream and that opportunity from when they were founded and when they started, they wouldn't be here now. And I always feel like you have to pay homage and respect to the origins of where you came from. I think that's very, very important in all ways, shapes, and forms. I really do. Lamin, great call.
Just one other thing I want to say, is that how many more dead rubber matches are we actually going to get in the Super League? Yeah. Okay, let's say only one team can win it. That's it. Then like all the other matches are just probably dead rubbers. Because like, okay, if you have a mid-table team in the Super League playing against another mid-table team, they know they're not going to achieve anything. So what are they actually playing for? To me, you have to be playing for something. If only one team, say one team ran away with it, what are the other teams playing for then?
Yeah, no, that's true. I was saying to David earlier, like, because teams can get knocked out of their domestic competitions, that means their domestic cups are gone. They're not going to be able to be in the the Champions League or Europa League. So they're all playing for one competition.
Yeah.
Just because teams like Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Spurs get money, it does not mean they'll be ran well as football clubs. So they could still be left behind in the mud. And they literally, I can see the Super League being won by the same 3 to 4 clubs every year. How is that entertaining? How is that fun?
Yeah, and I was saying that, and then again, teams like Arsenal, United, Spurs, who maybe even Juve, who don't even invest properly in their clubs anyway, they will end up essentially becoming the whipping boys of the league. And in another 10, 20 years, when they want to reformat the Super League and do something else, United and Arsenal won't be invited into it, because in 20 years' time, you will no longer be a big club.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a lot. I'm so confused by how they're actually going to make this work. I said it earlier. If it's worst case scenario and you're in one competition only for a while, you could go 10 years with winning nothing, and not even being competitive. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be mad. It's going to be. But what you know is going to. This is why the other leagues will get devalued, though. Because what's going to happen with that kind of money is you're just going to have what you should end up with is these 15 squads that are just full of elite end players, because you've got all that extra money. And it will go back to how the Premier League was for a while before the new TV deal money come in, where the smaller clubs couldn't afford to say no. What's really changed in the last 7-8 years in the Prem is that because of the new TV deal money, it meant that Man United and Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea, it was harder for us to take. There was no way, like, you would never have to have paid 80 million or the equivalent for a Maguire. Yeah, or these you wouldn't have done, because those clubs would have needed the money. So you'd have picked them up for, like, obviously take away inflation, you'd have picked them up for 35, 40 million. But the clubs don't need the money anymore, so they set a higher price. This changes it, because the Premier League will lose money, European competitions will lose money, which means their incomes drop significantly, 100, 200 million pound a year. So then you can go pick up Jack Grealish for 25, 30 million pounds. So not only do you have loads more money, you're picking players up cheaper. And yeah, that competition might be amazing. It might be just ballers galore and it's great. But look what you're leaving behind. And that for me is a bit. I gave the example to KJ earlier. If you're a fan of the Hunger Games, it's like, I might live in the capital, dress good. They don't really dress good in the film, but you know what I mean? Dress good, eat good, smell good. But I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that when everybody else out there is starving and is hungry and living in squalor. And that's what this feels like to me. It's like Hunger Games FC. Lamin, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro.
Terry, I was going to say, on top of that, like me and KJ were saying, literally, me and KJ have been talking about this for hours, because we don't understand how this can all work and it makes sense the way we think it's going to work. Because even if you do strip Real Madrid of their 13 UCLs and United of their 20 Premier League titles, everyone still knows that they won them legitimately. So when you go into this league, Real Madrid still get all the best players. Just because Sancho is playing for Dortmund, who aren't in it right now, doesn't mean that because now Arsenal have an extra 400 mil that they're suddenly the favourites. No, because another 15 teams have 400 mil as well, who are more exciting propositions than Arsenal themselves. So what you're going to end up with is, at the top echelon, Real Madrid will have 20 world-class players, United 15, Chelsea 12, Barcelona 15. Arsenal will end up with none of them. Arsenal will literally end up with players like Chris Wood and Dwight McNeil, going up against Ronaldo and Messi in the same team. That, again, is another anti-competition thing where, like...
Do you know what's crazy about it as well?
Not enough players around. Players they're not infinite resources. They're finite. Mm-hmm. They're finite resources.
You know what? If the youth... I think there'll be less youth development at that level, because it'll be about win-win-win as opposed to this wait our turn. It's going to be an interesting one. We're getting Alex on the show. We've got Ram waiting backstage. So Rack waiting backstage as well. We're going to get Alex on next. Alex is a Chelsea fan. Alex, what's your thoughts on Thomas Tuchel's comments today?
I think, look, I think we can't really put blame or anything on Tuchel what he says. I think he's there to do a job, and he's there as being a coach. And to be honest, I wouldn't want to put any blame on him. I think whatever he says or whatever he tries to do, I respect him, and I respect him for that. And that's what I have to say on that part. Look, with all this, everything that you guys already talked about a lot today about everything and the topic, but one thing I have to say, like, I think as fans and in general, in football in general, we always kind of knew that something like this was going to happen. Over 20 years ago, Berlusconi from Milan, he wanted this. He with his AC Milan team said that he wanted to create a super league where the top teams in Europe will face each other. So I'm not surprised that something like this has happened. But to be honest, man, they don't care about fans. They only care about their pocket. And I'm literally just I'm shocked, man. And I've got no I'm in the clouds. I'm so confused now to what's going to happen in the future, and I'm worried, man. Look, I'm a real proper fan, and I love watching football, and I grew up playing football, and I love watching the thrill of football. And it'll get to a point, let's say that the Super League goes on and it goes forward. For example, Chelsea, they're in the semi-finals of Champions League this season against Real Madrid. First time that we have ever played Real Madrid in the Champions League ever, right? So it's a huge game for us, and blah blah. Now, if we go and play them in Europa League, in the Super League, we'll play them 3 or 4 times. After a couple of games we played against them, the thrill of playing a huge team won't be there anymore. It'll feel like just a normal other game.
It will.
Over time, yeah.
Right, Alex. The novelty will wear off from it. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Listen, Alex, thank you very, very much for coming on, having your say, mate. Really do appreciate that. Prime?
Sorry, but maybe the novelty will wear off, but won't a new, it's the right phrase, won't a new novelty be created?
In what?
That's
what
right. That's
novelty?
probably wrong phrasing. In terms of it, if all the best teams are in the league, and it's all going to essentially balance itself out anyway, so there is still going to be a bit of a rivalry aspect to playing, say, a Real Madrid or a PSG when they enter it, or Bayern Munich.
Your Prime. How can I have a rivalry with them and I don't even know what they're saying when they speak? Like one of the, I have no idea. Like this, I know this Google Translate, but having a rivalry with a PSG fan is not the same as having a rivalry with someone from down the road, from the same country, from the same culture.
Prime. I hear your point. Sorry, I think I hear your point of if you're one of the bottom teams in the new Super League after 2 or 3 years running and you play a team at the top, it's like top versus bottom. So it's like a big kind of thing. But the problem is at the moment, all these clubs are big in their own right, barring a few exceptions right now, in their own league. So when they come together, it's like, oh, what's going to happen? You won't have that because we're going to play each other year in, year out, watching each other. There's the beauty of it being rare. Like, your semi-final, it's the first time in your history you're ever playing Real Madrid. That's special. In the Champions League. That's the only time you can play them in a competition you want to be in. That goes. That uniqueness disappears massively. But I think what you need to do, Prime, is be a little bit more confident in yourself and just admit that you quite like the idea of this Super League and you want it to work.
No, I like the idea of having a Super League or some sort of competition like it does make sense. But the way going about it, like I said, is not the best.
Okay.
There is a better idea.
Okay, so Prime. My question is, if they made the same format of Super League, so as it is right now, however, they have put in the teams that you would want, would you be okay with it?
It's not necessarily the teams I would want. It's in terms of, I think there should be some sort of a qualifying system into it and like a relegation system from it. So it's essentially there's a few different teams in it each year because, not just because you're the best team this season doesn't mean you're going to be the best team in 3 or 4 seasons time. So there should be some sort of relegation and promotion system from it. Yes.
I hear you on that. We're going to go to some more calls. Before we do that, though, I wanted to share something that's just been put out. And earlier on today, we spoke about the comments from the German clubs and PSG that were very much, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they were, we have no desire in the next weeks to join this league, or right now we are not joining the league. It was very open-ended. Contracts have been revealed. I want to show these. These have been shared on the internet. I'm going to put these up on the screen. So as of this point, so watch this space, see what happens. Paris Saint-Germain have 14 calendar days to make their decision. Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund have 30 days. I'm not too sure why they've been harsh on the French over the Germans here, but this is this has been shared via.
They're close to saying yes. That's why.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
No one writes me into a contract at BT Sport. I ain't close to working with them.
Yeah, exactly. So that's there. So it gives you an idea about this. It's those clubs are holding off. What they've been very clever on doing is, and they've played the PR well, but we can all see through it. Is I'm going to hold off until I have to make a decision, and then maybe I won't make a decision, but we'll see. The day everything is elite, the elite will be average, and you will never have the highest of emotions. That's absolutely right. You need. The way I look at it is this, right? They always say, like, you know, when you go on holiday somewhere, it's like, I'd love to live here. That's because you're on holiday there, bro. You're not working. You're not sweating on a building site or working in a stuffy office, and you're not rowing as often with your other half or your kids because it's a holiday and it's nice. The amount of people I know that have moved to new parts of the world come back and been like, novelty wore off for a while. It didn't have the same feel to it. And that's what I'm scared of.
That's true. Like, how do we make the Super League, yeah? How do we really know if these men are actually the best if one team keeps losing? If there are teams that constantly aren't the best, how are they because of the best? The only way to equate that is, okay, in the English league, in the Premier League now, who's the best team there? Let's see if we can beat them. Because imagine if the mid-table teams in the Super League couldn't beat the champions of England. Well, they're not the best now anymore, are they? So why are they there? You know what I mean? You need the separation of everything and the different leagues so that you can come together and really see who is the best. Having them there from the start.
Yeah, I hear you on that completely. We're going to have Rack on the show. Rack, welcome back, mate.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Yes, it's a weird time for football. Where's your head at today with it?
Yeah, it is a weird time for sure. It's possibly one of the most historic days or 24 hours in football for sure. And obviously Jose going kind of topped off a little bit as well. I dread to think what Klopp's going to make of this. I really fear that. I know Klopp as a person has always painted himself with particularly strong social values and a kind of left-leaning ethos, and I think that's why he's ingratiated himself so much into the club, because the club shares those values, or did share, or at least the fans share those values, and I'm really concerned. But obviously, time will tell. I fear the worst at some point. Perhaps if this starts in a couple of years, maybe he'll be here with us until then. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? What do you want? Forget what he will do. What do you want Klopp to come out and say?
It's such a tough one. I mean, it's similar to Tuchel. He gets on well with the owners and the ownership group and Mike Gordon, who effectively runs the club. So they've supported him and he supported them. And then is this going behind his back? How much has he been consulted with these things? I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that he's been kept abreast of it, but I know from everything I know about Klopp that he would not have liked the sound of it. It's so tough, man.
I'll make you right on that. We've got some super chats here. First one says, never like watching or playing against Galacticos. As an Arsenal fan, I enjoy playing Liverpool, United, Chelsea. Love the Prem and English people and culture. Next comment here says the German teams are 50% owned by fans. They are. But you've got to remember, the one thing I'd say about this is people won't be stupid. People are not going to, what's the expression I would use? I don't think Bayern Munich or Dortmund are going to cut their nose off to spite their face. yeah, if it looks like European football outside of the Super League is going to implode and they're going to be sucked into the vortex, they might decide to get off the sinking ship. And I wouldn't.
If everybody else is on the train, then they're not going to be left waiting at the platform. You know, they're going to jump on as well. The whole. I mean, Bayern's board is made up of like the CEO of Allianz, the CEO of Audi, the CEO of Adidas, and all these kind of like huge commercial.
A lot of these teams.
Yeah, exactly. So T-Mobile and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is, you don't need 51% of the fans to vote. You just need 2%, right? Because if the other 49% are coming from the commercial side of the company, of the club, then you only need to make that flip happen. I was chatting with a Bayern fan on Twitter earlier, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, 51% of the fans, you'll never get that." I said, "You only need 2%," because he said he was like 95% of fans won't back this, but that 95% equates to 2% of people that do back it. And that's all you need.
You need 5. Like all you need is 5% of those fans.
Yeah.
Because again, everyone's assuming that everyone is against this as much as each other. This is where our ideas of we've got power isn't true. Because if you've got 49% that will unanimously always vote with each other, all it takes is a couple stray heads to go, actually, you know what? Me going, I have never been to England before, and I'd love to go to Stamford Bridge, the new Stamford Bridge that could be 80,000 seats. I'd love to go see Liverpool play every week. All it takes is 5% of those fans to be like, yeah, we'll go. And then suddenly you're 1% advantage.
And at the same time, it's just being sensible. No one is going to be like in the moment, right? This is the thing with being a martyr, like in a subject matter like this. In the moment, the world might go, "Oh, Bayern, you're amazing. Dortmund, we love you." You know, in 30 years' time, when there's plants going through their stadium because the whole of their football world collapsed, and Dortmund and Bayern Munich don't exist on any capacity anymore. That was what a decision. They're not going to do that. They're not going to destroy their clubs for the sake of it. They're not. I don't think they'll do it. I really don't.
And Bayern have also, like, for the last 5 to 7 years, Bayern have been moaning so much behind the scenes that, like, Burnley or teams that finish bottom of the Premier League get more TV money than them. It's a known fact. So all of a sudden now, when they can't come out and say it potentially right now, but if anyone believes they're not seriously considering it, I think they're deluding themselves.
Apparently, the Super League have written to UEFA and FIFA warning that they has filed motions in courts preventing the football authorities imposing bans on them. So they're ready for the fight. They're making the first moves to fight against anything that they come against them.
And Florentino Perez says apparently he's having a conference, like a live one at like midnight tonight.
Well, another thing with Perez, part of the reason why I think this has come out now is Perez was only re-elected last week. Can you imagine? And he's the chairman of the European Super League. If he wasn't re-elected, you can't imagine a situation where he'd be chairman of the European Super League but not chairman of Real Madrid, right? It would be weird. So that's part of the reason why the timing.
Lots of power plays going on. Rack, top man, thank you for coming on, bro. We're going to do a few more quick fire calls here. Ronaldo says, nah, I'm going to start watching South American football where it's still pure. Vamos River Plate.
Oi, listen. Don't trust no South American football, you know. Fam, without being pure. The only thing pure, is what the fans and the players sniff before games and that. But I honestly leave it there.
Also, there's nothing stopping the Super League from going, "Hey, Santos, you want to come for one season just as a guest?"
You'd be shocked. We're going to have Christopher on the show next. Christopher, welcome to the Terrace, mate. Chelsea fan, I can see.
Yeah. One of the main points I want to focus on primarily is specifically with Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool because of their American owners. And this is like in the situation if, say, the Premier League and
bro, there's a really bad buzz. Have you got like something on in your room? Air conditioning, right? Yeah, I thought so. Man, the aircon on. Oh, no, it's still buzzing. Is it your fan?
It's my fan. Yeah, it's my whole fan, yeah.
Oh, it must be hot over there, man.
There we go.
No, I'm from California, so it's super hot today, so...
There we go. Yeah, go on, make your point, bro. Go on.
No, so as an American fan, I've seen so many teams. I've seen so many owners here, like whenever there's a protest, specifically with like the Seattle Sonics. I don't know, KJ, if you've seen the NBA, but like they moved their team because of so many protests against their owners to like a different city. And I can see like with the owners of like United, Arsenal, Liverpool, like if the protest gets really intense and like in the first few years they need to like present their teams to the world, I can see them changing their names. Like, you know how the Arsenal's like the Gunners, they can change it from Arsenal FC to Gunners FC, and like Manchester United from Manchester United to like, I don't know, Red Devils United. So I think that's a situation where
if they imagine change the names, change the color.
Also, you being in America, in America, you know about like dead teams. Like obviously the Buccaneers are the champions right now, but for 20 years did absolutely nothing. Since
and
Arsenal could genuinely become the Cincinnati Bengals and just never even touch playoffs, just collect first round draft picks every year and do nothing with it.
Yeah, and also like the American fans know, like the American owners have a history of doing this. Like in the 60s or 70s, there was an owner that told like the fans of the city, like, oh yeah, we're gonna stay in the city, and overnight they shipped all their things to another city. So like American owners have had a history of doing this. So
that's exactly what Woodward did to a degree to UEFA the other night. He said, yeah, we love it. We love the new regime. And then behind the scenes, they're signing new contracts, mate. It's 110%. Listen, Christopher, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Super chat here says the truth is clubs are making dollar in the worst economic times, so they know it is all about the audience who watch from other parts of the world. This is like all the channels with worldwide subscribers. It is sad. And yeah, I understand that. And Max, listen, people are still going to go to the games. It's people watch it though because of its rawness. They watch it because of what it is. There's no saying it's going to work. You know, these same fans could tune in and watch Serie A. They don't. They could tune in and watch these other leagues. They don't. They watch the Prem primarily. Final caller of the day, of the evening, we're going to get Mr. ABC on the show. What you saying, mate?
What's up, guys? How you saying?
Yeah, I'm good. Hey, it's Abs. Sorry, mate. I didn't realize a different person. How you doing?
I'm good. I thought I'd change my name because you get too many abs on the line.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on everything going on, bro?
For me, I think it's crazy. Personally, I think it's crazy. Obviously, I know, David, you watch. I'm obviously a NBA fan and an NFL fan, and all this is, if people don't realize it, is Real Madrid and Barcelona are going to win the Super League every single time. It's literally going to be a glorified NBA as the Lakers win everything, Celtics may compete, and the odd one or two teams will win. And for me, the reason why I feel like fans are not realizing we actually have the power to stop this is, okay, if Man United want to go and join the Super League and change their names, I'll be a Brighton fan. That's fine with me. At the end of the day, I'm a football fan. I could go down to the middle of the park now, watch 5-year-olds play football and go, you know what, that kid's good at football, he's going to make it. Or go watch a girls team and watch it and go, they're going to make it. At the end of the day, fans make football, not the football clubs make fans. I feel like fans are sort of starting to forget that point. If these clubs want to break away, okay, let them do it. We'll see how long they last, for me personally.
Yeah, but Abs, if you're not careful, you run into a situation where the only option you have is no football or Super League football.
Okay,
but
David,
that stage, people, it will really test people.
Okay, David, really. The reason why I say that's going to be impossible, you know, in the NBA and NFL, there's one team in a specific region. Like the Seattle Seahawks left to go to Oklahoma, so Seattle haven't got another team. In football, there's a football club every other corner. If you're really a football fan and watch football, like the way people say they're football fans, okay, if Man United want to change their names to Chester, whatever, FC, go support Brighton. If Brighton don't want to do it, there's Crawley Town down the road for me. If not, there's Crystal Palace. Yeah, if not, there's Leyton Orient. There's always going to be football. That's the thing.
You watch the NBA and the NFL, right?
Yeah.
You don't watch the Spanish La Liga of basketball, do you? They also play basketball, and they're the highest level. They're the highest ranked team in Europe. They're the highest ranked league in Europe. But nobody watches. Well, people watch them, but not to the level they watch the NBA, because the NBA has all the best players in it. If you can be like, I will go and watch Brighton, but you will not watch Brighton when all of Brighton's best players get sniped out of there, and everyone's run out of money because no one's watched it, and all the TV deals have gone over to the Super League. This genuinely, this has the ability to erase so many leagues of football off the map. You said there's football clubs coming each round the corner. If the league systems collapse around in each European city, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore because you don't have enough football clubs to go around. Then you've got the option of, do I watch the 10 teams that are, you know, Rangers of Somehow Manchester Survive, Motherwell, Crawley, Accrington, where you could end up with a situation where you end up with teams that are so good compared to the teams at the bottom, and because no one's really watching it anyway, they can't change it. So you've got that, which is even poor quality football, or you could go watch the Super League where all the best players are playing.
Okay, but David,
David,
there's no guarantee the Super League is going to be competitive. Can you imagine Stan Kroenke, who's get 300 million, going to Arsenal? Here you go, there's 300 million to buy players. No, it's not. Like you said, the Cincinnati Bengals have been shit for over 20 years. Their owners just collect money. Just because there's a Super League doesn't mean the quality of that Super League is going to be to the highest standard. I'm saying football is a different sport to American sport. I'm about to go play football in about an hour. And that's a very good standard. You get people watching us play football. I'm just saying the actual essence of football is football fans, not football clubs. And for me, that's the thing I feel like people are also forgetting.
Listen, I appreciate your call, mate, and coming on, and everybody else that's tuned in this afternoon. We have a super chat here from Paul Ross, who says, like I said before, but I'll be softer, but it's treason to our fans and clubs' legacy is what Paul Ross said. Strong words from everyone. We are live tonight after Liverpool take on Leeds. It's going to be a very interesting game and watch. Make sure you're tuning in as ever to the Football Terrace. We're here for you. Smash that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you all again